Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and I'm here today to do the Loki book tag. My friend Eric over at Break Even Books just created this tag, which was perfect timing for me because I just watched the show last week. And if you want to know what I feel about it, I'll link my weekly entertainment wrap-up because I had some feelings. The first prompt in this book tag is Mischief, a book that has a mischievous character. For this one, I'm going with In Other Lands. The protagonist of this book is just so delightful. He's not necessarily a great person, but I really enjoy the vibes from him for some reason. He's a very sarcastic bisexual boy who has been hurt in his life, so he hurts others. So obviously he's not the greatest role model in the world, but he definitely gets up to some mischief, especially because he's at this private portal military type of school where there are two tracks. You can be kind of the strategic or you can be in the fighting, and everybody's in the fighting except for him. He's like, no, I just want to learn about strategy and all of that type of stuff, and also I would love to find a mermaid. Why haven't I found one yet? I'm in a portal world. The second prompt is variant 1, show a book you have more than one version of. I would like to take this moment to note that usually when I do book tags I just talk about things and I don't have to hold them up. And yeah, I definitely had to tear apart my bookshelves for this one, so thanks for that, Eric. Now for this one I have two copies, but they're technically the same version, and that's Red, White, and Royal Blue and Red, White, and Royal Blue. I mean, technically I have an e-arc of this, so that is a different version, but I ended up with two signed and personalized versions of this book because I ordered one for myself from this independent bookstore. And shipping to Canada was pretty bad, as it always is, so I got it shipped to a friend in Orlando and I picked it up when I went to Booknet Fest in 2019. I missed Booknet Fest so much, and it kills my heart that I can't go this year because we're still in a global panini. In any case, the second copy of this came to me because my friend Anna also went to a book signing, picked me up a copy, knowing that we were going to meet in person for the first time within like a month, and brought it to me, which is so freaking sweet. So now I have two signed and personalized copies, which just makes me delighted. The third prompt is variant 2, which is show a book series where you have more than one edition in the series. This could be that either you have a mixed matched series, or you started collecting the series in one edition and then decided to collect the series in a different edition. This is the part that tore the biggest hole in my shelves, and it's also going to be hard to get on camera because I don't have a viewfinder, so I can't tell if you can see this stack. But this is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I originally read these because they were lent to me from a friend. In fact, I took the last book in the series, which is this chunker, with me when I moved to Europe and then had to mail it back, and then eventually had to get all of my own copies of books in the series. The only one that was actually new was this one, which was a present for my brother, and that's because this one came out after all these other ones came out, but this is where it fits in the series. In fact, this last book in the series, the one that's actually called The Dark Tower, I took this out of a hostel in Scotland because it had a symbol in it that I wanted to get a tattoo of, and I did. And it was one of those take a book, leave a book things, and I didn't leave a book there, but I have put so many books into Little Free Library, take a book, leave a book things all over the world that I don't feel that bad about it. This is a very long and complex fantasy series with a lot of screwed up things that happen in it. You might recognize this because you think that a movie came out a little while ago that covers this series, and no. The movie was really bad, actually. I will link to my video about that because I had notes. Prompt 4 is Prune, a book you recently got rid of, or a book that you're probably going to get rid of soon. I don't know if I'm actually going to get rid of it because it's part of my Life's Library book subscription and I like having all of the books from that subscription, but I definitely DNF'd Teaching a Stone to Talk. This is a series of essays, and yeah, I only got about that far through before I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I don't DNF very often, but the writing just really wasn't working for me, and I didn't want to force myself through the rest of that because I think that this part took me forever to read because I wasn't enjoying it, and I didn't want to do that twice more over just to say that I finished a book that I was not ultimately enjoying. Prompt number 5 is Enchantment, a book that had you under a spell, and the current spell I'm under is for The Twisted Ones. You probably can't see this at all because it's a library copy, so it's covered in the shininess. Let's do that. The Twisted Ones. This is a horror book about this woman whose grandmother has recently died, and she doesn't really care about that because her grandmother was not the nicest person in the world. However, her dad is in his 80s, she's in her late 30s, and he has asked her to go clean out Grandma's old house. When she gets there, she finds out that Grandma was a hoarder, so this is going to take some time. But of course, this house is in a very, very rural area, so she's basically just there with her dog, and some creepy things start happening. And then, in addition to me not wanting to put this book down and only putting it down to do adult responsible things such as work and create videos like this, she's cleaning the house but then finds this diary of her step-grandfather which mentions a manuscript, so she's really cleaning the house to try to find this manuscript, eventually finds it, and creepy things happen to do with that as well. So I just really love that I'm really invested and she's also really invested in another story, which is just cool. Prompt number 6 is Timekeepers, and that's name a series that stood the test of time, and bonus points if it's a trilogy. I don't know if this has stood the test of time because I bought it specifically so I could reread it because it was like my favorite of this author's writing when I was a teenager, but I just haven't gotten around to actually reading it yet, and it's the Remember Me books. This is a bind-up of all 3 books. I remember the first book being my absolute favorite of his works. However, I've reread a couple of his standalone books since I got like 10 of them from Thrift Books, and they were cheesy and bad, so I think I've been holding off on actually rereading the series because I'm really terrified it's going to be horrible. I remember this being the best written though, and then there was also a 6-book vampire series that I remember enjoying as well. So we'll find out if this is super terrible or not, but I don't know if it stood the test of time. And I feel like if you're going to bend rules to your will, you're gonna do it during a Loki tag. Prompt 7 is Asgard, and that's a book with royalty or godlike figures. For this, I'm just going to go with the Royals series. The first book in that series used to be called Royals, and then it had a title change to Prince Charming, and the second book in that series is Her Royal Highness. I really enjoyed both of these. They're cute, sweet, fluffy contemporaries. The first one's about this girl whose older sister is going to be marrying, I think, a prince in England or Scotland. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years since I've read them. And now the tabloids are basically on her, and I think she just recently had a breakup as well, so she wants to escape her situation in Florida and ends up going to a boarding school in Scotland. And then when she's at that boarding school, she meets the love interest in the second book in the series. At this point, there are only 2 books in this companion series, but I would be willing to read more. Prompt number 8 is Daggers, a book that cut you deep and made you emotional. For this one, I chose A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Strangely enough, again, I believe that this one is a girl who lives in Florida. I could be wrong because it's been a while since I've read it, and she actually goes over to England because her family sends her there for some form of vacation. She's had what she calls the trifecta. Her grandmother, with whom she was very, very close, died. Her boyfriend of a very long time broke up with her, and her best friend decided instead of them moving in together and going to university together, she is going off-continent for a couple of years and leaving her best friend behind. This one is full of grief and emotions, and she bakes to show her love, and I just really very much enjoyed it. Prompt number 9 is Illusion, a book you bought because you thought the cover was pretty and it ended up being bad. I have never done that, so I decided to be mischievous and do the exact opposite of what this prompt says. That would mean that I'm looking for a book where I bought it because the cover was terrible and the book ended up being really good, and that's Transwizard Harriet Porber and the Bad Boy Paris Arlophus. This is the only Chuck Tingle book I've read so far. He has amazingly bad covers at all times. And yeah, actually Chad picked this one up for me because I put it on my wish list thinking that if I was meant to read this, somebody else would buy it for me, and then he did. In this one, we have Harriet Porber, who wrote A Hit Spell a few years ago, and her agent is like, you're gonna need to write a new one soon, otherwise you're just going to escape into obscurity, and that's not gonna be good. So I think you need a change of scenery. I'm going to send you to my family home on this little island. When Harriet arrives, her next door neighbor is Snabe, who is a bad boy bard. He's the lead singer and I think everything else in a band called 7 Inch Nails, and he is very meta-theatrical. He knows he's the bad boy in a romance book and talks about it a lot. This was just actually a wonderful meta-theatrical romance between these 2 trans characters, and I loved it. Yes, of course, we are getting the digs in at a certain author who shall not be named, and yeah, this was great. This was absolutely wonderful. I didn't expect to love this, and I did. read. And there you have it. Those are all of the prompts for the Loki book tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. If you've read any of these books and want to talk about them, meet me down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that is down below, as well as a link to my PayPal or my Amazon wishlist in case you would like to buy me a book. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!